Sebastian, just to be clear, it started off as just Bucky. Apparently the story goes that you only realised you were playing the Winter Soldier when the title was announced in 2013.
I think the way I really learned about it was I had a friend who texted me from Comic-Con saying, dude, they just released the sequel and your name's in the title. And I was like, oh, I mean, that's good. That means that I'm in the movie, right? I mean, so yeah, that's very also true.
Most of the intelligence community doesn't believe he exists. The ones that do call him the Winter Soldier.
And talking of titles, was there ever any conversation about the show being called The Winter Soldier and the Falcon?
You know, first of all, I've already had my name in a title of a movie, you know. Arguably, Falcon, we haven't even really ever learned his backstory, period. I mean, you know, it's a tough one to argue because I technically have had 2 movies dedicated to my character.
Do you even remember them? I remember all of them.
So in a way, I feel like, you know, it really should be about the Falcon, to be honest.
You've got to give him a leg up, that guy, Anthony Mackie.
Sometimes he might need a hell of a lot more than that.
So what's our plan? Great. So no plan.
He's got the legs covered, I'll tell you that. I mean, the guy doesn't skip like day, but...
No, sir. And how happy are you now that you don't have to wear the mask and the goggles anymore?
No, I kind of liked the mask. I was always a little bit hesitant of the goggles because when you have the goggles, you don't have the eyes. And so like as an actor, you want to use the eyes, right? But the mask was kind of a cool thing because I knew what the Winter Soldier had looked like in the comic books. I knew. But, and you know, and again, we had tried the eyeliner and that was sort of an interesting, bold choice. Unfortunately, we decided to kind of maybe not use it so much, although it had made sense at one point that he had been, you know, he'd been using that. I'm always a believer, less is more and all that stuff, which is again why I was really worried this time around. I was like, don't give me too many words.
What's going on in that cyborg brain of yours? You don't want to know.
Because I've been a lot better without a lot of words.
Oh yeah, I can see it working. Gears turning.
So now if we're gonna say something, what are we gonna say?
Oh, they're malfunctioning. They're on fire. God, I hate you.
You've worked with some utterly incredible people in these movies over the years. I was wondering who intimidated you the most, because back in the day you once told me the story of what happened to you when you first shot a scene with the Robert Redford.
He didn't know his lines.
I think I walked into the fridge. I don't know, we were shooting in this apartment. I didn't know my lines. Yeah. And I was really petrified. You just don't want to keep him waiting. And I think I was so aware of his presence. I think I walked into the fridge in the kitchen while we were shooting.
It happens on All the President's Men a couple of times, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was such a dream come true. All I wanted was to ask him about everything that he had ever experienced. And he was so kind.
I know you've explained this a million times already on 1,000 different interviews, but indulge me. How does the metal arm work on set, and how has that process evolved over the years?
Well, the arm itself has changed. The first arm was really, really difficult to work with. In fact, we had to have it broken in 2 pieces because the one piece in itself, like the hero one, the particular material that shined and was it looked the most metal was a really hard material. So I couldn't even, just getting it to use it was extremely difficult. But again, that also informed sort of a kind of a behavior of the character in a way. And I remember refusing to wear the less shiny one.
You have a metal arm? That is awesome, dude.
I wanted the hard, uncomfortable material because that was going to look the best. And then as we went, obviously once he got a new arm, Every time they mold them again based on your body.
Where's the fight?
It's all very specific to you.
On its way.
And then this particular one was the most flexible one. And it's like one piece.
I got a vibranium arm.
Obviously, it can't be a whole full-on arm, right? Because otherwise, how are you going to get into it? But it was the most comfortable one. But yeah, I still find myself sometimes catering to the old one, you know, because it just had such a specific shine to it. And it was so iconic in the comic book. So, so physically, I've definitely had some love wounds from the from my partner in crime, the left arm.
Why didn't you use the metal arm? I'm right-handed.
I love the bits with the therapist in the first episode.
So, Mr. Barnes, are you still having nightmares?
No.
We've been doing this long enough that I can tell when you're lying.
And it makes me think, you know the bit in Infinity War where you pick up Rocket
Come and get some, space dog!
and use him as like a moving machine gun?
Come on, get some, get some, get some! Come on, get some!
Are you bringing that up with the therapist? Surely there's got to be a moment where you go, there were these alien dogs attacking me.
Well, yeah, right? That would be a good thing to talk about.
James, people really do want to help you. You've got to maintain friendships.
Okay.
Because I remember in that particular moment, which was a very cool moment, and it was fun, but we were sitting there with the Russos in Infinity War trying to figure out what his humor was and like, how does that character now respond to a talking raccoon, you know?
How much for the gun? Not for sale. Okay, how much for the arm? Oh, I'll get that arm.
I'll leave you with these two wrap-up questions. What do fans typically say to you in the street when they spot you? Do you get lines quoted back at you, end of the line? Do you get people quoting longing, rusted, 17, daybreak, furnace, 9, benign, homecoming, 1, freight car?
It happens quite often.
Желание. Żałuj.
Stop.
12.
Stop.
It happens at you know, coffee shops, and it happens a lot, you know, and it's always very funny,
Разведь.
and it's a good honorable thing, you know, I guess.
Jedź.
You know, you're very taken with it all the time, but
Nie wiedz.
you do have to sometimes look at people in the face and say, no, I will not become the Winter Soldier. And as you say that, you know, that you can keep saying, and maybe you should say it. Maybe that's the moment we both need to have together now here. But nothing crazy will happen, you know.
I'd like to apologise and say goodbye, which is, it was with me where we decided your fans were going to be called the Winter's Children back in the day.
Wasn't it?
Put you on the spot.
Winter's children.
The most Winter's children.
That is the most sinister.
So odd.
Well, that really stuck, didn't it?
Yeah, I can only apologise. And
No, it's all good. I'm glad that stuck around.
and obviously as the White Wolf, I should say Wakanda forever. So thank you so much, sir.
Hey,
I'll see you
thank
next
you.
time.